Hello everyone. Come join me this morning. It's a brisk October morning on the Long Island Railroad. I don't know what kind of... Is that a thing? That little back shuffle that they were doing? I don't know if I could do that. Well, let's see what train we want. Over here we got the Atlantic Terminal. And don't think I want that one. I'm looking to go to Penn Station. This looks like it here. We'll come along here and see if we can make our way to Penn Station. Thought I'd do a little different. Instead of driving the train today, we'll ride along and talk about some of the things that wow, did you see the look she gave me? I don't know what that means. These gals aren't giving me a look. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh, yeah, recently I did a drive. I drove this passenger line out of Penn Station. And I got to tell you, I was much impressed with how nice the tunnel system was coming out of Penn Station. There is a huge improvement between what it was in Train Sim World 2 and what this legacy carryover Long Island Railroad is now in Train Sim World 3. And I was listening to other reviewers talk about Train Sim World 3, and they were basically saying that, yeah, your downloadable content could carry over, and it would, but it wouldn't have all the features of Train Sim World 3. I don't know what all of the different features might be, but I can tell you the things I've noticed that are definitely different in this particular downloadable content of Long Island Railroad, different now than they were. So I'm just walking about here, and I don't know why everybody's trying to get on a different train, but I want to get on this one. This one's going to take me to Penn Station. I'm not sure what they're waiting for. But I also noticed, there's probably a lot of features that are deep in the, in Train Sim World 3 that I don't know about. Maybe performance enhancers and other things that maybe don't carry over to the legacy stuff that you have in downloadable content. But the things I've noticed, first off, the sky, sometimes referred to as the skybox, is phenomenal. The whole lighting system, the outdoor atmosphere, is just superior to what it was in Train Sim World 2. And I never thought it was all that awful in Train Sim World 2. But now it's just, it blows my mind how good it is. At first, I don't know that you notice it so much, but the more you're in it, the more you think, wow, they got it. They nailed it. I hope they don't fool with it and screw it up, because it is very nice, really nice, and everything looks nicer. All of the scenery just looks nicer when the whole atmosphere in the sky and the reflections is just what it does is it pops the scenery. It's not that the scenery's changed, it lights it up to where it pops, and the realism of immersion is just so much better, and I'm so pleased with it. I don't know why the digital displays on the side of the passenger cars aren't showing anything. I was looking at it, and it's really not showing much. Ah, okay. And these guys had to wait to get off. I don't know why. They didn't open the doors and let them off. They just didn't want me to get on. This is hilarious. I cannot get on. And you know, anytime if you've been to any kind of public transportation, that is exactly what happens. People trying to get on don't let the people get off, and the people getting off, they just keep coming. But you notice this is interesting too. People don't get up out of their seats; they teleport out of their seat to the into the exit row, and then they walk sideways out. You see that person just disappeared, teleports to the exit row, probably behind me, and then can walk out, and they just keep coming. And so, some of the things that you get a chuckle over. Anyway, I'll take a seat here. It's got a good window view. And I could people watch for a few moments while we wait for this train to get going. But yeah, so I always liked the Long Island Railroad and have been impressed with it and enjoyed, running these trains. And so it was one of the things that I decided that I was going to do once I got Train Sim World 3. Was to give one of these old legacy downloadable contents and see how it carried over. And I am very impressed. It carried over wonderful. You know, not only you get the atmosphere, if you turn on dynamic weather, you get dynamic weather. Even the 3D miles, they beam. The aluminum here is just on the locomotive and cars is just spot on, beautiful, and just everything. And of course, the October sky, the October leaves changing up here in Long Island is just fabulous. A lot of beauty here, and even for city life, as we come out of the suburbs of Long Island and head towards the city area. I didn't grow up in Long Island, but I grew up, just as close on the New Jersey side. You may recognize a little bit of accent as you listen to me. I now live in Florida, and lived here for many, many years now, but have ridden the trains and the subway in New York City and Manhattan, and familiar with maybe not this particular line, the Long Island Railroad, but definitely familiar with New York. The other thing I noticed is the sound is different. So, they did something. They must have done something, because everything, it just looks better, feels better, sounds better. I'm very pleased. And I got to tell you, besides this, I also tried the Arosa line. That's that passenger that goes up the Swiss mountains, and there's a lot of talk about that line, about how the mountains look terrible. It's actually one of my favorite passengers to run. It's challenging. It's an old train. It goes up the mountain, and it's challenging going up. Actually, it's quite easy to take it up the mountain, because you have cruise control on that train. Once you set it to 30, it just goes up 30 kilometers an hour, and it's just a nice ride up. And of course, you have to stop for the different passenger stations, and it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. But the whole effect is ruined in the Arosa line, because the background mountains in the Arosa line, they look terrible. They just didn't do a good job on them. And what happens is that they're just not modeled well, and then they look weird, because they have a lot of 3D trees just sticking out of them, and it just doesn't look right. If they had done a better job, the whole thing about the Arosa line is that it's a train going up the Swiss mountains, and if I got that right, but the mountain beauty is what the attraction is there, and it is actually, if you don't look at the background mountains, it is phenomenal. It's just phenomenal how beautiful everything is about that DLC. But the backdrop just puts a lot of question on what were they thinking. And the other thing is, it is so outstanding. Everything else about it, going through the streets and going actually through the close-up mountains and along the track and the villages and the bridges and everything is so outstanding that if for a minute they had put some time into giving a beautiful backdrop, wow, how stunning it would have been. But I have gone and revisited it in Train Sim World 3. And of course, that doesn't get improved. But what does get improved is now that Train Sim World 3 has the better skybox, the better atmosphere, the better lighting, it does make a difference. And so, yeah. The background mountains, I sure wish they did better on it, but at least now it's really a stunning drive going through the mountains. And because the close-up stuff is really great. The other thing is I went and visited the clinch field. Now, if you have the clinch field and you like the clinch field, you will, and you upgrade to Train Sim World 3, you're gonna love it. It's just. It was always a beautiful scenic mountain railroad from, back in the 70s or even earlier. And it's absolutely phenomenal now. You put on dynamic weather and light snow in the winter, and it just, let that train go by screeching. Between the two of them, competing sounds there. Yes, the clinch field is it's phenomenal. I had to choose, maybe I'll do another video with the clinch field, and wow, it was a fun, beautiful train ride. One morning I did in the snow and dynamic weather, and I just can't tell you how awesome it is with this new atmospheric lighting that we now have in Train Sim World 3. Everything is improved, and it's just, and I think the horn sounds are different. I don't know for sure, but I gotta tell you, I did want to talk a little bit too on why I went ahead and bought Train Sim World 3. And it was something I wasn't going to do. I like Train Sim World 2. And let's see, before I get into that, I want to explore a little bit here, get out of this stop. We're at the Nassau Boulevard, making our way to Penn Station. And take a look around. One of the things I wanted to do is, since I was on foot and not driving a train, take some time, look around a little bit. I'm just really impressed with the overall foliage and everything. And, I don't think this is any different than it was in Train Sim World 2, but it just looks so great now with the new lighting. Beautiful. Took a screenshot. I missed my train. I'm goofing off here, and my train is going without me. Oh boy. So let's go figure out what to do next. And once I do that, we'll get back on the topic of why I bought Train Sim World 3. Because I honestly, I wasn't going to buy it at first. It's an awful lot of money, and I don't know what I get for it, but am I just going to get a little upgrade, and the lighting, and I would like to have that, but look at this guy. He's an angel. absolutely phenomenal. He's out of this world. And then there's that other guy. How does he look? He's a normal guy. And then this guy, he's a blooming angel. Maybe he can get me back on Penn Station. I don't know, because it looks like the next route to, well, the next train is. Oh, look at this. I earned some points. Whoopee whoopee. I got some points for walking around a bit. I don't know what to do with the points. I've talked about that before. I don't know what. Maybe points is a thrill for you competitive types, but for explorers like me, they don't really mean much. But Penn Station is oh gosh, it's an hour away. I got to hang out for an hour to get to Penn Station, or maybe I'll just wait 20 minutes and go to. What do you say? We go to Atlantic Terminal instead. I wanted to go to Penn Station because I got to tell you, the tunnel system in Penn Station, haven't seen it and been there, is what it used to look like, and now what the tunnel looks like in Train Sim World 3 is different. It is just, it's what it's supposed to be. And I can tell you, having ridden trains in a tunnel and having driven through tunnels in cars in the New York metropolitan area, the tunnels are exactly what they're supposed to look like, and it makes a huge difference in gameplay when you're going through these tunnels now. It's really nice, very nice. But I don't know if just that alone would have got me to buy Train Sim World 3. I mean, for the deluxe edition, it was $60, and then I think they're just picking one of the other options would have been what, 40, I think, whatever. But I was listening to somebody, so I got to hang out. So I might as well talk to you for a few minutes. I'm not gonna talk for 20 minutes. We'll edit out probably the 20 minutes, but I'm gonna have to walk around and edit this part out to some extent. But I did want to walk around and see what the streets look like. Wow! Look at it! Look at that! You're drifting. This is the place to come if you were a drifter. Look at the bus. Isn't that something? I'm waiting for the car to come through. Oh, the car went through correctly. And then he drifts over to that street. Wow. Guess I'm not supposed to see that. Or maybe when they get over where that angel is, he's got some kind of power. Slips him over there. But I was listening to some other videos, and somebody brought up a different perspective on buying Train Sim World 3. And that was, there's a tunnel going across the street. But I want to take a walk around on this side. And his perspective was, well, you're going to get these downloadable contents. You're going to get these routes that, and if you get the deluxe edition, then you get everything for $12. You're going to get the high-speed train in Germany and the high-speed train in UK, and you're going to get the Kujan American route, which of course me loving the American stuff, I want to get all that stuff. And how can anybody not want the high-speed German trains? Those are kind of the best work that Dovetail does. And then you're also going to get the what other route was there? Golly, I went blank. With the deluxe edition, you get 4 routes. You get the 2 high-speed routes, Germany, UK. You get and you get the steam engines. Now, I got to tell you, there's things I want that I haven't bought. One of them was the steam engine. I hadn't purchased that. It's definitely something I was gonna get, wanted to get, and you know, we've waited a long time for it, and it was just a matter of not wanting to drop the $40 on it. Also, the like horseshoe curve I wanted, and I still haven't got it, and I just don't want to drop $40. Now, you kind of go through this with any of the simulations, like Microsoft Flight Simulator. You know, they offer new planes and new scenic places, and whenever I can get something that's well done, you know, for $20 or less, I usually jump on it, and I don't always jump on the things that are $40 because you know it'll bleed you dry after a while. So I hadn't bought the horseshoe curve. There's a good reason why I want it. I want to have the many American routes as I can, nor whether they're Canadian or U.S. You know, I like these type of trains. But when I started thinking of it that way, for the get the steam trains, the steam old time steam locomotives from the UK, no American stuff out yet. That was a $40 drop, and now I can get that with the deluxe edition of Train Sim World 3. I would get the steam, I would get the American Kujan Pass, I would get the 2 high speeds. So that's 4 routes. 4 routes for $15 each. That's right in my realm for 4 routes that I want to have, or you know, 3 routes in the Steam edition. In Steam edition, I mean Steam locomotive. Yeah, all of which I want. So you can look at it that way. $15 for a route, definitely do it for those 4 in a package deal. And then, in a sense, I get Train Sim World 3 upgrade for free. Or you can have the perspective like the other guy says, you get everything for $12 a piece. And you know, I gotta ask myself, but here comes our train. Get on this and head towards Limited Terminal. You know, if this was open to modders and there was a payware that gave you this beautiful skybox and weather and dynamic weather for $12, I think I'd jump on that too. I mean, it's nice. So anyway, that was how I looked at it, and I thought, what am I waiting for? It's not like I didn't have the $60 or something. And I understand that not everybody does, but it wasn't an issue for me. So yeah, I get back, sit down, relax here, and we're just gonna end up at a different terminal in the end. We won't make it to Manhattan today, so I gotta apologize for that, because I got some of your hopes up. But we will make it through some tunnels. We'll take a look and see how they look as we make our way through the. I don't think we go through the East River or not, but like we would if we're heading towards Manhattan, but we're going to end up going underground for a little bit. Yeah, and I got to tell you, since I've gone ahead and got Train Sim World 3, I'm liking this upgrade. And, you know, I didn't even think about it making a change to the downloadable content that I already had. But it sure has. I mean, this is a clear example of how this is so much nicer now, this whole route. Now, one of the things that happened when I first went from Train Sim World to Train Sim World 2 was I took a performance hit and a lot of lag and choppiness and choking. And it seems like the same thing's happening with me now that I upgraded to Train Sim World 3. So I'm taking a bit of a performance hit. I don't have a high-end card. I have a mediocre video card. And so I got to tell you that I hadn't gone in and messed with the settings. And you know, that was one thing I had to do before. And it made a big difference. Once you go and mess with the settings, you're going to end up getting a better performance. But I hadn't done that yet, so unfortunately this video has got a lot of chokes and stutters and stuff. But I remember going through that with Train Sim World 2, and you know, after messing with it, I got much better performance, much better frame rates, less stuttering. And then actually, as time went on, every time Train Sim World 2 upgraded, the optimization got better. I suspect that's going to happen here too. Look at this lady. Did you see that? Can't get the seat to go down. Got to pull up the hood. Oh, it's one of these slider things. Okay, got it. Now I gotta sit down in this thing. Well, as we move along here, get the front end view. You know, it looks so pretty down those streets. Looks like it could be a nice place to grow up and live. I know I grew up on the Jersey side, and I would not trade my upbringing for nothing. I raised my kids in Florida, but I grew up in New Jersey, and I guess home is home no matter what, but I really loved growing up in the seasons and all that stuff. And it was a different world. I'm an older guy now, and I was a kid in the 1960s. Definitely a different world. By the time I was in high school, I was running cross country, and we would do some of our meets in New York City, running through the streets of downtown New York. It was fond memories. Look at some of the wagon stuff trying to move around the camera. But some of the things I think they've done improvement on is having traffic on the streets. There were some places that I was in Train Sim World 2, and you would see no cars on the streets, not a lot of traffic, and now I see a few cars, some of them drifting and sliding around, but wow, get a jitter effect there. So I'm looking down some streets, and they definitely have traffic going, and I look down other streets, and there's nothing there, so I don't know that they did a lot of work on the legacy stuff that ported over from Train Sim World 2, but some of the stuff has come over automatically, I think. So it's kind of a hit and miss. Here we go with our teleporting people. You never see them get up out of their seat. They just kind of come to the exit row, and make their way out. Look at that lady. Did you notice that? She seems to be shrinking. The incredible shrinking lady. Next time I get up, I'll have to take a look at her. I was thinking about it. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have waited for the Penn Station, but it doesn't matter. We're going to get to see what this route looks like going towards the Atlantic terminal. So instead of heading into the Manhattan, we're heading, I think, into Queens. It's too far south for the Bronx. It must be the Queens, or even further down in further south. But we'll make it over to Manhattan today. And you can't get up on the street level anyway. So a lot of choking going on here. But yeah, so far I've done in Train Sim World 3, I've done, of course, the new American route, the Kuhan Pass, and I've done the Clinchfield as one of the old times. Very pleased of doing this, and done the Rosa line. The older stuff just is much better in the new stuff. Now, I've been listening to a lot of reviews on this new Train Sim World 3, and there's a lot of negativity out there about Tubtail games. And my thing is trains, not. So I talk about the trains, I talk about the gameplay, I talk about the modeling, the scenery, and that kind of thing. I don't really get into talking about the the game developers. You know, um, if I like what they're offering, and then I go for it. And the Train Sim World series has been a big winner for me. There's things about it gameplay wise that I'm going to get to talking about that I have criticism about. But my criticisms are usually way different than everybody else's criticism. Yeah, and what I mean by that is I see a lot of criticism about the game developer, about Dovetail Games, and I see a lot of criticism about the paint and texture and not being prototypical. I'm a big model railroader as well as as well as doing train simulation on the computer. I have three different scales of model railroads. And in the model railroading realm, we call this rivet counters. These guys that they want everything just to be prototypically right up to looking at every bolt and every rivet and every little pinch and every logo and everything. I'll be honest with you, I don't know that much. You have to do a deep dive and study on the different road names to know about all that stuff. And that's not my thing. I just enjoy driving trains and enjoy the offering and the immersion of it. And if you're a rivet counter and you gotta have the paint scheme, the logo aligned just perfect underneath the rim or something that I don't even know about, for you to have immersion mode, then then I get I don't know that I'm criticizing that, because I think it's good that we have people who are looking at that stuff and challenge the standard. Look at the guy in that seat. I mean, everybody seems to be shrinking. Am I on some kind of futuristic train where some alien races if we get on this train, we shrink? It's kind of funny. But yeah, so some of the things that I always want to talk about are the things I love. I mean, I do love doing passenger trains, and passenger trains Dovetail does well, and it sets up these timetable. And first of all, let's talk about the services and as far as scenarios and timetables. The scenarios are fine. They give you 5 or 6 of them for each route, sometimes more. Sometimes if you buy a new locomotive, you get some more scenarios. But they're good for getting an introduction to what the route's about and what it looks like, and some of them are fun to do. But to me, they're a one-time thing. They're totally scripted. The time of day, the weather, everything about it scripted. They tell you every task and everything you're supposed to do. And I had complained about, I think it's starting to drizzle a little bit. So I had complained in another video about they suck the fun out of it for you, in a sense, by telling you to do these mediocre type tasks. But I'll get back to that. But the scenarios are very scripted, and they're good, and some of them are fun. But really, for me, the timetables are where it's at. And with the timetable, you can select what train that's appropriate for your route. Usually, you have 2 or 3 different locomotives to select from, and then from there, it show you what consists and what time of day they're running and where they're running to. Still a little bit scripted. Everybody's shrinking in here, but you can select the weather and everything else about it, and I find them a much better option. And I like to, once I run a timetable and I've gotten used to that particular time slot, I'll do it again maybe several times, because you learn the grade, you learn the hills, you learn the hill going up and the hill going down and curves, and you can get better and better at it. So I do like that, but it's still, there's some limitations to all that. Still in the suburbs, it looks like, getting a little bit more of brick buildings and apartments and things. Looks like a power distribution center. But, what I really would love to see is for not just the timetables, but for us to be able to have some routes that had branch lines to them. Because right now, especially on the American freight, it's always single commodity or a mixed freight going from one yard to another yard. They don't normally have local deliveries. They may have some scenarios that do a local delivery, and when they say a local delivery, they'll tell you to take one commodity of, oh gosh, look at this woman. And, they'll take this one commodity and you deliver it to one industry. And that's really the extent of it. And what I'm looking at is if they can give us a route where they have 6 or 7 industries up the branch line for, and a branch line could go 30, 40 miles. And even a smaller branch that's only 15 or 20 miles, if you have, 5, 6, 7 different industries, then you can spend time in the yard building up a consist that has the cars for industry 1, industry 2, industry 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it will take you'd have a purpose on building up the train, and building the consist and putting it together, because you're going to put it in the order of drop-offs. And if a couple of them are trailing and some of them are leading, you may have to drop off some before you drop off others, because you have to turn around to drop off the remainder. So that kind of thought process only comes when you're doing deliveries to 6 or 7 different industries. So I'd love to see them put together a route where, maybe it can go 50, 60 miles from one yard to another, but also have local drop-offs for a line. Especially if you have multiple tracks, you certainly could do it. And we really don't see that yet. Normally we see 2 or 3 industries at best, and we can only get to one of them. And normally when they have a scenario, if they have a free roam, it's in the scenario variety, which is unfortunate, because with the scenario you can't change the time of day or the weather or anything like that. And then you run that scenario and you do the one delivery. But it would be nice to have a free roam where you can actually go down the line to several different industries and drop off and pick up cars on the way. That's more of a puzzle, and it uses your brain, and you have to solve some problems. And I prefer that they left that to us. The objectives would simply be drop off at this industry, drop off at this another one, pick up here, drop off there, instead of telling us to move 100 feet past the point and all the nuances that once you've gone through training, you don't need somebody to tell you those kind of things. So I have yet to see the dovetail. They don't think that way. They don't have that kind of mentality on this. They seem to be improving on the American routes and giving us more of what we want. Maybe because I'm a loner in my thought process, and everybody wants bigger and better and more miles and longer trains and heavier stuff and bigger hills and more challenge that way. But I like the challenge of the delivery system. And we had that in train simulation and train simulator, I should say, and still do. And so many will say, gee, why don't you just use train simulator? Yeah, I know. But this is the most beautiful train simulation that that's out right now, and if they would just give us that one of the routes, that would make me very happy. We do have it now. We do have it in the Oakville route. That's the Canadian route. The Canadian route's a short route. I don't even think it's 20 miles, and only 8 to 10 of it you're able to do the local deliveries to numerous industries. But it's enough to satisfy me. And it's funny. It's one of the least liked routes. It's kind of one of those gems that nobody likes. But if you realize what it gives you, it's a gem. But once again, there is one scenario that's a free roam scenario, and you're locked into that 8 or 10 miles or kilometers or whatever it is for doing those deliveries. But at least you can do them and make a career out of it. Which brings me, we're at Jamaica Station now, by the way, which is the big station that, if I wonder, look at that lady, wow. I wonder, just a little drizzle, if I can get if I get off here, I maybe find a train going to Penn Station from Jamaica. That's highly likely, but may have to wait a while. Yeah, we'll get back on. See, this lady, every time I look at her, I swear she's getting she's shrinking into that thing. I don't know what's going on with that. Poor lady. She doesn't look like she's 35 years old, but she shrunk to the size of a 90-year-old. Okay, so what was I talking about? Oh, some of the things that I would love to see in future American routes is, a lot more industry, that we have access to the points where we can change, we can get to them, not have a block by a red signal, that we can get to them, and when we get to them, we can switch the points so we can drop both cars at them. Even now, I mean, if I do a timetable and I go past a particular industry, if it's not part of the scripted timetable, I can't change the point. So, I don't know how to help her. And she is I swear she looks even shorter now than she did before, and her feet are flat on the ground. It's not like she fell down through the floor. Yeah, that was something that we're able to do in Train Simulator, is you can contact dispatch and ask for a clearance on a single. I wish they bring that to Train Sim World. Why should the AI have priority? Why can't I, if an AI isn't in the block and they're a couple blocks away, if I ask for clearance, why can't the AI have, wait, let me go through? Here we are, we're going into the tunnel. Now this is becoming a long video, so this tunnel is a long tunnel, so I'm gonna edit some of this tunnel out, just to keep this within an hour. This whole video. But yeah, so what I love to see is the ability to either be able to call dispatch or get into the the map and change the the track points ourselves. Be able to change the switches. The other thing that I wish that they would institute, which just seems like all other games have this. I'm not saying all the train simulator games have it, but just about every other game you could talk about, whether it's European Truck Simulator, American Truck Simulator, ships or boats or whatever, they all seem to have this. Not just time, like a time lapse, not just time compression, but time lapse. I would love it if I can get off a train at a local yard and walk into an office like you do now, and it takes you to another service. Well, walk into an office that would take you to a time lapse. and it would change the time 12 hours, move it forward 12 hours, or you could select, I want 4 hours, I want 8 hours, I want a 12-hour lapse. Even like the Fern Bus, you can, if you get the soccer team download, you go into an office and you can do all the different kind of things for your team, and you can sleep for the night. This is things that nobody seems to be talking about on the big channels. My channel, nobody pays attention to me on my channel. I usually get a few hundred views, and that and that's about it. And so it takes months for that to happen. By the way, my channel is not monetized. I don't ask for anybody to do anything. Just enjoy, listen to my rants, and I enjoy doing them for my sake, and not trying to advertise or make any money off of it or grow it in any kind of way. So, if you do like it, I find myself, when I like videos, I rather hit the like button than the subscribe button, because after a while you get too many subscription buttons and you get too many notifications, and I don't really want that. I just want to say, hey, I like, I like Blue Games, and he does some train simulator videos, and it's usually easy for me to find him, or I just go back to my like videos and see what he's doing. I don't need a subscription type of thing, and so I don't bother people with that stuff, and because it doesn't, it may what it does do, I think, is it builds your likability in the YouTube channel, so you get more viewership. Well, that would be nice, I guess, but that's up to you what you want to do with that. But what I'm talking about here is some of the things that nobody else talks about, and one of them is the time lapse. And if that was the only thing, I guess my biggest thing is the local deliveries and having more industries when I publish a route. I love Clinchfield, but there's no industry on it at all. There's coal. Coal is the industry. But, there is a moving of mixed freight, but from one end to the other, there's no delivering of freight. And it doesn't, it's not the kind of, it's a mountain railroad, there's not the kind of local area that you have industry on. One of the things they had in the old train simulator, I still have, and I still like it, is in Florida they have the Miami to West Palm Beach. It's like 75 miles or more of local deliveries, as well as a passenger train, depending on what you want to do. That's awesome. And right now we don't have any Florida route, and hey, that's a good suggestion if anybody's listening. Florida route would be great. Now look at this tunnel. This is what I'm talking about. This is perfect. This is what it should look like. It's so much nicer than it was. These tunnels here are really nice, and the one at Penn Station is different. It's not rectangle like this. It's kind of more of your typical curve type of tunnel that I'm used to in the New York City area. But it's, oh wow, what a big difference. So somebody made this difference, and so it's not just the outdoor lighting, it's the in the tunnels, and everything is better. I gotta say though, Clinchfield, the tunnels still seem to be dark, so I don't know what happened there, but they're still kind of dark, and I'm not able to see those so well. But overall, the Clinchfield route is just gorgeous now with this new weather system and sky and everything. Just brilliant. So my take is a little different than paint and texture, and if the horn sounds right, if the ground balance and shading is correct. I don't know about that stuff. It's more of a look and feel to me. This looks nice too. I've been down a lot of New York streets with the overhead elevated train thing, and yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Except for it's kind of bare under there in the game. Not a lot of junk like you normally see. This building to the left, they reused that. Here it is over to my right now. Looking back, that building, you see it everywhere. I mean, I don't think in real life you see it everywhere, but you see it everywhere in the game. All right, we're getting there. We're getting close, which is good because I'm running out of things to talk about. What do you guys want to talk about? I guess you could put in the comments if there's something more you like, you like to hear me talk about. If I have an opinion on it, I can maybe do another video and talk about things. But I definitely want to talk about the time lapse where you can get off the train after running a locomotive for a full day or whatever, and after a few hours, and go into an office and take a break and continue your career, 10, 12 hours later, or even 4 hours, and do a night thing. It's up to you. I don't like doing night trains at all, and that lady's going to disappear, I think, before the end of this trip. It's absolutely, her feet are still on the floor, so I don't know what's happening to her. Wow. Yeah. So multiple industries is something that I would love to see and have not seen. I don't know if they have them in the UK. I hadn't done much freight stuff in the UK. Ooh, that truck just ran over a bunch of people crossing the street. They don't care about pedestrians here. If you ever come to New York, keep that in mind. You gotta look both ways before you cross the street. Wow. I as a passenger here, I can't get that. I can't get that wiper to work. So, what can I say? Everybody's shrinking. No wonder people are leaving as fast as they can, and the train's almost empty. The guy over there looks okay. He probably just got on. I seem to be okay. I have normal height sitting in the chair. I don't even remember putting on dynamic weather. I thought I put it on for a clear day, but here we are. It's kind of neat. That happens to be. People are loving the dynamic weather, but I think if there is a criticism about it, if you put on dynamic weather, you're guaranteed for whatever. You're guaranteed to get the whole weather cycle. If you're on the train for more an hour or so, you're gonna see everything that the weather can throw at you. And if you'll start out clear, and eventually 40 minutes later it'll be raining, and it's going to be raining real hard, and then it's going to let up. I noticed that with some of the other routes. It's been really neat on this route what's happening, and I don't even think I said it's a dynamic weather, but I must have. Still a little wetness on that front windshield there. You can see it's kind of streaming off. See the light at the end of the tunnel. Don't go towards the light. That's exactly what we're doing too. I was thinking about something here. There's I was talking about the one thing about the dynamic weather is, you may, after a while you may get tired of it. For Kuhan, out there in California, for that new route that comes with Train Sim World 3, for those that selected that package, that's the desert. I spend a lot of time. I don't live out in the West. I live in Florida, and we get rain every day. Yeah, that's for sure. During the rainy season. During the winter months, we don't get much of anything. But I do spend many weeks every summer out west in the desert, and you do see some rain, once in a while, but certainly not every day, and it's highly unusual. So they may get 6 inches of rain a season or something really, really limited. So to me it seems like, and this is not the only game. I've noticed this in other games and where I'm out and voyaging on the sea and stuff. It seems like the European developers, whether they're from the Ukraine or from UK or from Russia or whoever's developing the software, they always seem to give us, no matter where we are in the world, European weather. And it's, yeah, I've seen, on pirate ships we're in the Caribbean and we get fog every morning. And having lived, and I live in the tropics, and you don't do that. You don't get that. We get fog. It's unusual. Once or twice a year, you get fog in the morning. It's very highly unlikely that, especially in the islands, it's just going to blow through, and it's going to it's just going to burn off and blow through. You don't see it. And the same thing here out and this is perfect for New York City, yes, but for when they're out in the desert of California, and for us to get rain and lightning and all that, it's not that you wouldn't. It's just highly unlikely. And every time you play, if you put on dynamic weather, you're going to get rain out there, and it just doesn't feel right. To me, it doesn't. So I always put it on custom weather, turn that dynamic off, and just put on a clear sky or lightly cloudy. But I actually like the clear sky for when I'm out in the desert. You coming in now, since I'm not driving and I'm just the passenger here. I busted in. I took a peek at the driver and noticed it was a lady friend, and blinded her with my headlamp. So I turned that off so she can go about her business. She's just creeping through this tunnel, and I guess we'll get there here shortly. We'll get there, but these tunnels are so much better than what they were previous to Train Sim World 3. And what's my overall take on Train Sim World 3? I am certainly glad I went ahead and purchased it and got it sooner than later, because I was going to wait for the holidays when maybe they had some kind of deal. But I think the deluxe deal for $60 is a deal. 3 routes plus Steam. If you don't already have Steam engines, and you don't have the southeastern UK route already, then I think the deluxe deal is definitely what you're going to want, because probably the high-speed train in Germany is some of the best work that's been done by this developer. And if you like American road to get to Kuhan, that's an awesome. I've actually driven that. I've just got it now for a few weeks, but I drove out west and up the mountain, down the mountain, and it's challenging, and it is a lot of fun. Even though I don't have those local deliveries I've been talking about, it's certainly certainly a good route. And I don't know when and if I will get the horseshoe curve. I would say if they get a good sale on it, I will be picking it up, and eventually I think they will put a sale price on it. They seem to always do with the Steam app. So, but even then, what I've seen so far on the horseshoe curve, it looks great, but there's not much in the way of local deliveries. So it's been a pleasure talking to you for an hour. For those of you who are interested in looking at what this and getting a different kind of perspective and review on Train Sim World 3, it's, to me, it's not that I have favoritism towards Dovetail games, but I don't have favoritism or criticism. Catch you next time.